inside. Oh, fire. Ain't nobody living in a perfect world. Everybody's out there crying to be heard. But I got a new fire burning my heart, lighting up the darkness and moving like a meteorite. Oh, fire. When everything just falls in line, we live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts are healed by faith. Now I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts are healed by faith. Now I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts are healed by faith. Now I believe. Oh, fire. Oh, fire. Oh, fire. Oh, fire, fire, fire. Now I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts are healed by faith.
Jim, are we on?
We're on.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming back. Hang on, I just want to thank you for joining us once again. I'm ReneMarie, and we had a wonderful, really, really important show. And God, what a way to kick off 2021. As I said in the first show, we only wish the best for everybody in 2021. This pandemic has really had a lot of sadness and challenging, but we hope that 2021 brings us hope. And Judy has done for our shows, and thank you, Judy, so much. I think did I get offline for a second there, Jim?
Yeah, you're back.
Am I back?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. I think everybody's using the internet so much that my computer cuts out once in a while. Anyway, so, 2021 is about bringing hope. And we had such a wonderful show with Marsha and Jim on the first show to bring hope to stroke survivors and to everybody, that it really is important for you to support each other when you suffer a stroke. And we have a wonderful guest now who was actually linked, contacted me via LinkedIn. And I love his passion, and Judy actually connected with Rob Plaskas. Is that how you say your name, Rob Plaskas?
Yes,
Okay,
Plaskas.
Plaskas, with Rob, and she bought his book right away, and she read his book, and I haven't had a chance to read it. I am so sorry, but I will get it, and I will definitely read it. There it is, My Fight for Recovery. He has such wonderful messages for everybody, to bring hope. And actually, I'm looking at your Facebook, Rob. Before we get on anything, who's the baseball player? I'm drawing a blank on your photo. And your
Baseball.
photo, there's a baseball player on your Facebook page. Is it?
Oh yeah.
Can you think of
He
it?
was a
A
famous
Met. He was a
Yankee.
Mets.
Mets. I think he
No, I
played
think
on the Yankees too.
really.
Uh,
I'm drawing a blank, and I should know that
no,
because
I,
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 we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll find out. No problem. It'll be our mystery. We'll find out, and we'll let everybody know. But I'm going to let Judy share a little bit about her review on the book, because she read it and she has such passion about Rob's story. And I think it really be a good introduction, the way we did in the first show, for Judy to give her input into the book. And Rob, you're going to love it because she loved the book. So Judy, go ahead. Thank
I
you.
just made a few notes that Rob had epileptic seizures at a young age. He had fallen off a changing table as an infant, crashed into a fence at the age of 7, fell out of a homemade go-kart. His any concussions due to any number of falls and blows in sports activities. They found a lesion in his brain in spring of 1989. He was 11 years old at the time. He got hit in the head with a hockey stick, never told his parents because he didn't want them to worry. And he first was diagnosed with a benign tumor in the left lobe of his brain. And he was told by the doctors that if he had surgery, he could end his epileptic seizures. However, the surgery went sideways, and he suffered a brain hemorrhage caused by a rupture in the internal carotid artery and branch deep in his brain. The surgeon placed him in an induced coma. He lost massive amounts of blood, suffered major stroke, which left him with right side paralysis, severe speech impairment, significant short-term memory, and a lifelong dependence on an anti-seizure medication, which mostly worked, but not always. His recovery shows survivors of a severe brain injury can accomplish many recovery goals if they have determination, willpower, positive outlook on their new lives, and work hard at physical, speech, and emotional therapies. Coma was used to protect his brain during the severe brain bleed, and it reduced the rate of his brain tissue as well as his brain blood flow. During the operation, he suffered the equivalent of a massive stroke and came close to death because the flow of blood in his brain disrupted his normal circulation. The bleeding raised the pressure inside his skull to dangerous levels. He suffered a grand mal seizure. His global aphasia was caused by injuries to the multiple language processing area of his brain, and he couldn't speak, write, comprehend, and he had severe short-term memory. To fix muscle communication, he used neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to form and reorganize connectors, repeating exercises, performing exercises over and over. I have to say that I was really moved by this book. His determination, his will to survive, his will to continue on, and achieve all that he's achieved so far is absolutely remarkable. And he wrote the book on his own.
Wow, that's
I'm
incredible.
very proud of Rob.
Yes, congratulations. Congratulations.
That was my summary.
So Rob, you can't even put yourself in that place, right? I mean, just to think that all those experiences happen to you, like it's amazing. It's a gift that with the second chance at life, you know. What do you how do you feel? I mean, so when did it happen? When did it happen? I forgot the date.
In 1995,
1995.
yes.
Okay. So how does it, I want to get back to like a little bit of history on you, but I want to also right now talk about like how did it feel? How did it feel to did you know what was going on?
You mean when I woke up out of induced coma?
Yeah.
Um, when I woke, it was like I got hit with a water, and it took me a few, like about a second to notice I couldn't move my right side, and I kind of I cussed, but I can get it out, and I was like, "What is going on?" You know, like, "Oh my gosh, oh my God, I can't talk, I can't
So
move."
you were coherent enough to you were in your body, like let's enough to know like, oh my God, like what is going on?
Yes, I was.
Wow, that's so what was your after you experienced the understanding that something was wrong, what was your first, like who was the first person you saw? What was the first thought?
I believe it was my mom. But when I woke up, no one was in my room, and it took about a minute till someone came in, and I was
But you were in an induced coma, right? You were in
yes,
an induced coma. So they must
yes,
have released because I know my dad was in an induced coma too. He was on this morphine or something. So they must have reduced it and knew that eventually you were going to wake up.
yes. I know this kind of sounds kind of sick, but uh, y- you wake up slowly because what I was woken up when uh, they got the staples out of my skull, and that woke me up.
I would
So
imagine.
that was about, I think, in 4 days after the operation.
4 days after the operation, they took you woke up?
I woke up slightly because the pain I got when the
Oh my God.
staples got taken out.
Wow. So maybe that's why they put you in an induced coma, so that you weren't because, oh my God, it must have been so painful, so painful.
Yeah. Luckily, I think I got it. Like they got it. They took halfway done with the staples, and I only had to feel like about 5 minutes of pain.
I just when I hear stories like that, Rob, it's just amazing. It amazes me that doctors can save lives like that. I mean, could you imagine, like Dr. Beculus, could you imagine being a brain surgeon? I mean, the brain is so a miraculous item, a miraculous where, but it's our computer for our whole body. So for them to be able to go in and work on you, it really blows me away. It blows me away.
Well, they got the whole tumor out of my brain, so that's a good thing.
Yes,
So
yes, yes. They got the whole tumor out. What was it? Was it a malignant tumor?
no, benign tumor.
Benign. Benign.
So
That's a good gift.
it was non-cancerous. So that's a good thing.
Yes. So this happened at the age of how old? 17?
17.
17. So tell us what Judy was sharing with us, your youth. I mean, with all the experiences you had with your youth. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and you know, and what you were doing then.
I was a popular student at Oswego High School in Oswego, Illinois. I was respectful, funny, romantic, responsible. I never got into fights or was jealous with any of my relationships. I was a good student academically and participated in sports.
Wow. So what was your aspiration to be in your life?
I wanted to be uh, in high school. I don't know what I wanted to be. Wanted to be a baseball. I love baseball.
Me
Maybe
too.
I could go on and be on the Chicago Cubs.
Wow. 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 That's funny because you have that photo with that baseball player in there. I have to figure out who he is, but I will. I will. So okay, so you were a good student, and so what were you doing? Like when did they find the tumor? Like what was happening to you that you had to go to the doctors and they located the tumor?
Well, it was an accident. I was faking I had a headache on a Sunday, and my mom let me stay home Monday. So basically, I skipped school, and I decided on Monday that I'm gonna skip school on Tuesday. And my mom said, "Okay, you can skip school." And then Tuesday night came, and my mom was like, "I'm gonna get you a MRI." And I was kind of like, "I don't know what a MRI
Why
is."
did your mom, just because maybe I missed something, why did your mom want to give you an MRI? Like, what was the reason?
Well, I got hit by a hockey stick Sunday, and
Okay.
I was complaining about I got a headache because my neighbor hit me with a hockey stick
Okay.
by accident.
Right. Right.
And so Tuesday night, uh, Wednesday, I went in and had a MRI, and then I went in the conference room waiting for the results, and the doctor came in and told me I have a unknown mass in my brain, and I got referred to a top of the line hospital, and in a week they told me I had a lesion, a scar, and what they think was a benign tumor.
Wow. Wow.
It
And
was
it
it
probably
was
was, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
it was the size of a pea.
Wow. So it was a gift that you were hit in the head by that person.
Yes,
Because if you
yes,
weren't hit in the head, you wouldn't have had that MRI and it probably would have grown and who knows whether it could have became malignant. So God, that's a gift that that someone hit you in the head with oh my gosh. The same thing happened with my dad. My dad fell as he was walking down a slope at work, and he twisted and broke his ankle. But it turned out when he went into the hospital, he had blockages in his heart, that if he wasn't in the hospital, he would have died when he had his heart attack. So, one thing led to the other, where if he didn't break his ankle, we would have not had him for 3 more years. So it was a gift that he broke his ankle. It was very, very, it amazes me how sometimes tragic things become gifts in your life. They're gifts. So that's really,
But you didn't want to do anything about it because you were enjoying high school so much, and you delayed having anything done about it.
Well, does that mean like they? It's kind of confusing, my benign tumor, because I was let go. Um, the pea-size tumor when I was 11. I had from then on. I had a MRI each 4 months, and it didn't grow. So they said that uh, I I don't have anything to worry about. Um, and they let me go. So I didn't have any MRIs when I'm 14, 15, 16. And but when I was 16, I was playing basketball, and I had a big epileptic spell. That's basically like a small seizure, and I felt so exhausted when it ended. It I had to sit down from the basketball game. When the game got done, I went and had a MRI, and they found my benign tumor was the size of a walnut. Not so it did grow a lot.
so
So at that point, they wanted to operate.
they knew as of when you were a
Well,
Rob. So no, now
You're good now.
am I back?
You're back.
Yes.
yes,
My computer. So anyway, so Rob, just so I understand it, so they didn't first locate the
What happened was
the small tumor.
it grew. It
yes,
grew from a peanut to a walnut size.
Okay,
And now they
just
wanted
so
to
I
do
understood it.
something.
Okay. So at 11, they had determined that you had this small tumor in your and then they were watching it to make sure it didn't grow every year. Okay, so I understand it now. So when you got hit in the head, so I guess all the winks were the episode you had on the basketball court, and then you got hit in the head with the hockey stick. And I guess your mom, that's why she wanted to have an MRI to make sure that everything was still, to check it out. Okay. So that
yes.
that makes sense.
Well, when I found out I had a walnut size tumor when I was 17, 16, 16, we went to Mayo Clinic up in Minnesota, and they said, yes, I have a benign tumor the size of a walnut, and they can remove the whole thing. And that was in the summer when I was 16. We decided not to have it uh, at Mayo Clinic. We decided to have my operation in Chicago. Um, Chicago has top of the line hospitals and medical centers. Um,
Is that close to your home?
Yes. My hometown is Oswego, so it's about 45 minutes to Chicago.
Right.
We I had my the new neurologist said that you can wait like 5 months until I would have my operation, and I was like, okay, I get to play football in the fall, and so I did, and then uh, and
And they didn't think, I got to ask you something. They didn't think that with a walnut tumor in your brain, that getting hit with a football field would affect it. I'm just curious. They didn't determine that.
I guess not. I mean, I'm just a kid that
Yeah, wanted
I
to
don't.
play. You
Yeah,
wanted to play. You wanted to be a
but
kid.
we had two of the top prospects to play at college on my team that fall, and
Wow.
one of them went to the NFL.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff to have been a part of that. So, okay, so you played football and for 6 months, well, whatever the season was.
Yeah, and the fall ended, and then I had my operation, and it all went down, you know,
South.
south. Yes, down south.
Wow.
So,
But
but I
you,
did have the whole tumor removed. So that's a blessing.
yeah, because it probably would have, even though it wasn't cancerous, it probably would have started to have more epileptic seizures. It probably would have started to interfere with other things that the brain does, right? I mean, so I mean, you really didn't have a choice. You had to have it
And
removed.
that's when you had the rupture in the internal carotid artery when they were removing that tumor.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. You remember, Judy, we had this doctor. I'd love to have the conversation with her about this. Remember, we had, I forget
Oh, from
that
Stony Brook University
she was
Hospital.
wonderful. She was around the United States. And sometimes when they do surgeries, like they're trying to go for a clot, they actually, there's something they use, and pardon me, I'm not medical at all, but they actually have a system so that clots aren't formed and people don't have strokes. We'll have to invite
I
her.
know who she is. I know
We'll
who
have
she
to
is.
invite her to be on and have Rob on again, because
Yes.
I would love, we just want people to educate, to bring awareness to everybody, so if somebody else has to have a surgery, a brain surgery, whatever kind of surgery, they know the questions to ask, so to maybe prevent the stroke occurrence that happened to you. So that would be very interesting for her to be a part of our show. It'd
I'll
be,
give her a call on Monday.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, so, oh my gosh, so you had a surgery, a brain surgery, you had a stroke. Um, so I know you said everything turned upside down, but what happened? Like, I mean, how long were you in the hospital for after you were,
Well, I was in the hospital about a month, and then I went to a rehabilitation hospital in Wheaton, Illinois, and I was in their care about 4 months,
wow,
and 2 months I was inpatient and 2 months outpatient.
right, right. And what were some of the things, we'll get to the aphasia side because that's really important, but what are some of the things that they did with you in for rehabilitation?
Well, um, with global aphasia, I get like just on my speech. That's about all they did.
Okay.
But I had a tough time speaking. Uh, I could only like when they were when I left my rehabilitation hospital, I could say small sentences. But in the beginning at my rehabilitation hospital, I could say like, and, maybe, no, yes.
But you had
But
trouble comprehending. You
yes,
had trouble comprehending and short-term memory.
yes.
So did you, when you were saying those words, did you understand what you were saying? Like when you meant to say no, did you say no? Did you?
Good question. I have to think back to my rehabilitation hospital times.
Oh, because
Um,
I'll share with you why. Because when I suffered a major stroke over 30 years ago, so I am. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, that's why I do. That's why we're doing what I'm doing. Because at the age of 26, I couldn't walk or talk. I had suffered a major stroke. So, and I suffered from aphasia. And I remember being in Valley Hospital, and I remember for speech therapy, and I remember them opening up a book, and the boy ran was the words, and I couldn't understand it. I couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't even say it. So
yes,
like something so simple, Rob, the boy ran. I couldn't even say it or understand it, and people would never. I don't think people can understand. People can't understand that. It's really hard unless you've experienced it like you and I. It's hard to share that with somebody.
I'm exactly like you. I think we have the same thing, actually.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You know,
I,
and
I s-
and I love the fact that you're not giving up. You're continuing to we love sports, right? You and I, and when you're in the game, you have to stay in the game. You have to practice. And some days you have good games, and some days you have bad games. But you have to stay in it to win. To win. Actually,
Rob, I'm
I was going
sorry.
to say my book that I'm working on, my movie, is called Extra Inning, because my stroke happened on the softball field. So like I'm in the extra inning of my life. What am I going to do with it? What would I do with it if I was playing? I'd be so intense and focused on winning that game, and maybe not even winning so much, but just doing the best I could so that I could feel good when I got done with it. So
Rob,
sports plays a big part in our recovery,
tell the audience about how you went to college and what you're doing now and what degrees you got, because you've made so much progress.
well, I got my associates in education. Uh, then I went to Illinois State and got my bachelor's in communication studies.
Wow,
Uh,
that's incredible.
and then I got a good job with the state as a communication analysis with the Illinois House of Representatives.
Wow,
That's astounding. That's so great.
that's wonderful. So that just shows everybody that you can suffer something so major and still be successful. Be successful.
And I go each week. I go 6 times a week to my gym, LA Fitness.
Yeah, I would like to go to. Do you go during this pandemic still, Rob? Though.
Yes, but don't tell my mom.
Your mom won't hear it on the show. Mom, you didn't say anything. Speaking of your mom, you know, I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine how my father felt, how my sister felt, how my husband felt, how my, how the family around you felt.
It's devastating. It's a
Yeah.
devastating feeling for someone
So,
you love to go through something like that.
so how did your mom, how did your mom feel back then? It just must have been a worry on her forever.
Yes, it was. But she helped me in my rehabilitation, but and uh, that helped me a lot.
Because she loved you through it. She loved
Yes,
you through it. That's,
yes,
yeah, I know. As much as the medical profession is a key, we also have to have people around us that are going to love us through it and support us, because although we can't say it, we can feel it. We could feel it. We feel the support that they give to us, as we're going through it.
yes.
Right. So tell us about your book. Like, you wrote the book by yourself. Like, what inspired you to write a book?
Well, I wanted people to have hope, and I think my book will help them have hope when they finish my book. And my book is um, called "My Fight for Recovery." It's about it's about confidence, determination, and hard work in my recovery, and how I succeeded in my new life. For example, I'm working as a communication analysis. I go to the gym 6 times a week and going to social events on weekends to
Wow.
improve my speech and meet more friends.
Yep. So what inspired the name? Like, why did what how did that name come about for the book?
Um, I was just thinking out loud. I was talking to my uh, self-publishing agent, and I was just like, well, I think I should name my book "My Fight for Recovery." You know,
And what it
but
is?
It's a great title.
yeah, that's a good
Perfect.
name.
Well, that's because I think it was a good title, because that's actually what you were doing, right? So it,
Yes,
it just it fit right in line with the whole book and what you were saying in the book.
yes.
Now, Judy, because you could probably tell me better. I mean, I know Rob and Marcia and Jim wrote the book as a conversation back and forth. How did Rob write the book? Is it just his story?
It's about his youth, and he mentions the seizure. He mentions the um, benign tumor, but he wants to be out there enjoying himself. And he talks about when he has to have this operation at 17. He's worried, he's concerned, the feelings that you would have. Oh my God, what if something should go wrong? I want to live this life that I dreamed of. I want to be active in sports. I want to do this, that. Um, but he's brave enough to do the operation, and then something goes wrong, and his fight for recovery is so strong and it's so motivating that everybody should read it, because we all go through things, or we have family members that go through a crisis. And he proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that with determination and willpower and willingness to work the hardest you can work, you could achieve wonderful, wonderful outcomes, which he did and is still doing. As I said, I'm so proud of you.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And you're going to be doing something with your book. You're going to be promoting it at Barnes and Nobles across the United States, aren't you?
Well,
Wow.
I hope so. I haven't talked to anyone yet,
But you're
but
making,
Well,
but
I'll
hopefully,
keep promoting it, and we'll get Barnes and Noble to do something about it.
but you know what? When you speak it out loud, it becomes a reality. It becomes a reality, you know, because no is not in our vocabulary word, Rob. That's
yes.
my motto. No is not my vocabulary. It may not happen the way that I intended to happen, but something will manifest and happen from your desires. Your desires.
I feel that if anybody says something can't be done, get out of my way. I'm going to show you it's going to be done, and I'll show you how.
That's right.
And I have done that,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
and you have done that.
that's why you've been so successful, Rob, in your recovery. So what, I mean, you know, and I said this to Marcia and to Jim on our last show, which you really should watch. It was they were very, very good interview. Because she's as passionate about, um, you know, advocacy as we are. But, you know, some people don't have the drive that we have, Rob. Some people don't have that drive. And I know you want to bring hope to people, but what would you say to somebody? What are you saying to people that need to be inspired?
Don't give up on recovery, whether it is mental, physical, or emotional. Some people can't do a lot with physical and mental, but uh, the biggest thing that you need to do is get that emotional recovery.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I did because of my psychologist.
Yep. And do you see them on a regular basis, your psychologist?
Yes, each week when I was at the rehabilitation hospital, and once I left, each month I would see him and tell him my issues, problems, and it's all good now.
Well, you know, that's what I love about that is, you know, you're building your team around you
His
to
tool belt.
your tool belt. You were building your tool belt around you to because it's what you needed, you know. And what Marcia said on the last show, which she understands, is you need people in life. You can't do things by yourself. So the fact that you went out and, you know, I guess they provided you a social worker, um, but you continue to navigate with that. What other tool belts do you have, Rob? What other support? What do you have in your tool belt?
I I have I, I I have a lot of friends, and they give me support big time. And uh,
And do you have to see your doctors? Do you have a neurologist? Do you have, you know, um, what do you need to do medically to stay healthy?
I can't talk. I
Yeah.
had each day I take my epilepsy pills. If I didn't have those pills, I think I would be dead by now. Um,
Why do you say
but
that? Well, I mean, because I never experienced an epileptic seizure. So what does that feel like? What is that
well,
about?
uh, in my case, like twice I had grand mal seizures, and what happens is I would fall down, I would shake, and I'm up all the time, and it's like my muscles kept moving, and I didn't want them to move, and it's painful,
Oh wow.
and you don't want to have a grand mal seizure. In my case, you know.
Wow. 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 There's so many pieces to the moving puzzle, you know, that somebody has to deal with in life, you know. And I hope that everybody has a little bit of empathy and compassion before they judge, because first of all, it can happen to any of us at any specific time. We never know what the future is to bring. So we need to be empathetic to everybody and compassionate and motivate people and inspire people, like you just said about the Barnes and Nobles. Like, okay, we didn't say, oh, it's never going to happen. Like, oh, that's awesome. Like, you're going to make it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll look for you on the trail.
Counting on it.
Like inspire people. I'll never forget. I don't know if you knew Wayne Dyer. Did you ever hear of Wayne Dyer?
He's a motivational speaker.
He passed on, but
Yeah.
he was one of the world's biggest motivational speakers in the entire world. The biggest. He was the biggest. So I got a notification that he was going to be at the Jacob Javits Center in New York. So I just went. With nobody even came with me. I bought a ticket. I went. I sat right in the front, and it was many.
How'd you get a front seat?
I don't know. God. So I'm sitting there, and I know I don't know your faith, Rob, but I know that God was guiding me that day. So I got up, went to the city by myself. Got the front seat, and then Dr. Wayne Dyer said, okay, so I'm going to take a short break and I'm going to meet everybody down there. I was the first online. And this was back, I forget how many years ago, but I wasn't as, fine-tuned in my navigating. And I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And what he said to me was, great. I look forward to the invitation. I can't wait for you to do that. He never skipped a beat in supporting me in everything my passion. And I was like, wow, Wayne Dyer is going to come to my show. Wow. Like, even I never thought that Wayne Dyer would even imagine coming to one of my shows, but I was like, wow, that was it. So I fed off of his motivation, his inspiration. So it was really a wonderful lesson, a life lesson in my life of how to support people and how to, just let people dream. You got to dream, right, Rob? You got to dream.
Yes.
In your spare time, you could also be a motivational speaker, Rob.
Yes.
It's my goal.
Yes.
You have a lot to say.
Yeah. When I motivational speak, I'd really rather it be two people, myself and somebody else. I think the voice conversation just navigates better. I don't know. But I did see Rudy. You remember Rudy? You know Rudy, right?
Yes.
Rudy from the football of Notre Dame.
Yes.
I actually saw him live as a motivational speaker. He was phenomenal. Look him up, Rob. You want to learn how to be a motivational speaker? Whatever you can do, go to one of his motivational speaking or look for him on YouTube. He speaks in a soft tone, but his presentation and his story, and don't forget, he just had 1 minute of fame. I mean, if you think about it, his story, builds up to it, but he had that 1 minute of fame that on that Notre Dame football field. So he made such a beautiful story about this alive. Like, he was phenomenal. So yeah, look him up. He's a wonderful motivational speaker. And actually, if you research him, it wasn't until he met his girlfriend, who's now his wife, who said, no, this is funny. Someone called to ask him if he wanted to motivational speak. And she said, well, we'll see. We're really busy. We'll get back to you. And they didn't have a booking. They didn't have any booking. He said to him, you have to look like you're busy. You have to make them want you. My
hometown is Oswego, and his hometown, I think, is Joliet, Illinois. So it's basically neighbors to Oswego.
Rob, send him an email. Contact him. Contact
I'll
him.
give you a list of motivational speakers that you could get in touch with.
Yeah, but if you contact Rudy and he hears your story, maybe he'll help you. Maybe he'll help you. That would be awesome. That's my recommendation for the day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Reach out to Rudy, because if your neighbors, God, like, look at my story. Send him your book. Send him your book. That's another thing. Jack Canfield, who I am a wonderful supporter of, and I follow Jack Canfield. He actually, when he wrote his book, he sent it to hundreds of people. And just asked them to please read it. And
I have his tapes.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, those are ideas to because people would love to help you. Love to help you. We'll help you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we're gonna have a few more minutes. So what's one thing that you would want to share? What is your elevator speech, as I put it? Where you only have a few minutes and you have to sell yourself, and you only have a few minutes with a stroke survivor or a brain injury person. What would you share with them?
I would say just give hope. Don't be down all the time. If you have a obstacle, hey, I mean, give it your best shot.
Yeah. Give it your best shot. That's a good slogan. Give it your best shot. That's your next book. Give it your best shot.
Maybe. Maybe in 25 years after this book, maybe I'll do a second book.
Yeah. No, wait 25 years. Just
10.
You know what? I just recommend that you
Start now.
You journalize your journey. Journalize your journey, so when you get to want to write that book, you have everything already written for yourself. That way you could just pull, because it is a wonderful journey. You're beginning with your book to bring hope to everybody. And it's going to be a wonderful second book. And the second book is usually more popular than the first book. I don't know
if
you know that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I heard, and this was many years ago when I wrote my book, I think the first book just makes you an author, but then you learn so much of it. It's like you put everything down, but then you learn so much about yourself as you're writing it, and you're going through it, that the second and third books are supposed to be. It's a series, that one leads up to the other. And it's very, very good. But your book is wonderful. So Judy, can we see his book again?
Yes.
And where can they get it, Rob? Yes.
You can get my book off my website, robplaskas.com, eBay, Amazon. Amazon is like the place most people go to.
I know.
Barnes and Noble, and many book sites.
Good. Jim, can you take a photo of us?
Yes, I can.
Smile, because Jim's going to take a photo of us. Hold up your book, Rob. Yes. Got it?
Got it.
Perfect. So we could put it on our press. Well, we really want to thank you. And we're going to invite you back, because Judy is going to reach out to, I think what's her
Can't
title?
pronounce her last name. It starts with a K, but I know who she is.
Yeah.
And I will call her.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, what kind of a doctor is she? Yeah, she's a specialist. She's a specialist. I forget.
Could be a neurosurgeon. I
don't know.
It's been a while, so I don't want to guess.
So will you come back and join us one more time, Rob?
Absolutely.
Oh, we're going to have you more than one more time.
Yes. So welcome to the family. That's what we tell everybody.
Renee, tell them about Shea Stadium.
Oh, yes. When I do my concert at, actually I said Yankee, but I'll do it at Shea.
Or Yankee Stadium.
You know, I was always a National League follower. I always loved the Dodgers. But then when the Yankees went through that wonderful time, you know, that spur with Derek Jeter, who was an example for people for athletes to follow. I was a Yankee fan, but when I was a Dodger fan, I went to New York one time with my softball coaches to buy tickets for the playoffs, and the Yankees were playing the Dodgers, and I was a Dodger fan. She's like, don't say anything. We were on the line with all these people around us. That was before you were online. But
and that's where she wants to have her reunion of everybody that she knows for the last, we're in our 7th year now.
Yes. So we'll have all our family and friends and followers around us, and we'll just raise the roof with music and joy and just that's.
And believe me, she's going to fill the stadium with these people.
Yes. So you get a front row seat, Rob.
Thank you.
So we're going to close out. We have 3 minutes left. We want to thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything you want to share before we hop out?
Just, I'm happy. Thank you for letting me on your show.
Oh, our pleasure.
And a happy and healthy new year to you, and God bless you for all you're doing.
Yes, and we can't wait. 2021 is going to be a phenomenal year. We're keeping everybody in our thoughts and prayers, and everybody a blessed 2021. We hope that there's hope for 2021. You know, we got to stay in our zones a little bit, still a little bit further. I know it's hard. We miss everybody, but we're doing this virtually. But it's for the best. It's actually for the best. Your health is everything. Your health is everything. So we'll blow our kisses on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ready? Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye. God bless you all. Happy and healthy new year.
In 2 weeks. Judy, don't go anywhere. I have to talk to you.
Okay.
Mi amor, yo no entiendo por qué tú más que nadie sabes qué pasó en mi vida. Yo no sé qué tú piensas. Yo no sé lo que haré. so